Hello, everybody, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. This is Dr. Carmen Bryant, and you are watching Overcoming Narcissist Abuse. To all the new subscribers, thank you so much for being here with this tribe. Thank you for joining us. I hope you find information. There's over 300 some odd videos on here. A lot of you have questions, and if you search the videos, some of your questions will be answered. In today's episode, I just wanted to wanted to really recap on narcissist abuse. What is narcissism? What does it look like? And so I wanted to recap, take a pause for a minute in all the video making to see what you have retained, what you have learned. Now, some of you are probably going to see this video for the first time. So this may be your first introduction to my channel. But I encourage you to go scroll through my videos to see, the different topics that I talked about. I bring it to you from an experiential and clinical point of view, but I break it down in layman terms. I break it down in terms which you can understand. I do address both male and females concerning narcissist abuse because it is a personality disorder. Now, narcissistic personality disorder is a mental illness. And remember, you have your total physical health, but a part of your total physical health, your whole person, includes your mental health. It's easy to identify. Well, not sometimes you can't because people hide it very well. But to identify, major depressive disorder, anxiety disorder, post-traumatic stress, schizophrenia, bipolar disorder, borderline personality disorder. So certain ones we know is a mental illness, is mental health, is mental illness. But a lot of times when we're dealing with personality disorders, we don't identify them as being a mental illness. It is still a mental illness. You're dealing with the mind, the thoughts, the behaviors, behavioral health, but it's a part of mental illness. And narcissistic personality disorder is a part of what's considered or called the cluster B personality disorders. Cluster B personality disorders is considered like the dramatics of the different mental illnesses, the dramatic personality disorders you have, such as and you can look these up, histrionic personality disorder. You also have what is now called antisocial personality disorder, which is used to be divided in half to not psychotic, but sociopath or psychopath. Those disorders. Then you also have borderline personality disorder. And there's a high percentage of those that do have borderline personality disorder that also have narcissistic personality disorder. And it's under the cluster B personality disorder. Now, each and every one of them, if you kind of research them, if you research them, a lot of them stem from childhood trauma, especially borderline personality disorder. It stems from, a childhood trauma in which is very dramatic. There's this love-hate relationship. There's this a lot of times they jump into relationships really quick. They're very dramatic, and it looks very similar to bipolar disorder. Bipolar disorder is very distinctive in its features and time frames at what the mood, the hypomania, the mania, the depression is a very distinctive time between, and it's pretty much, pretty accurate in diagnosis. Borderline personality disorder, on the other hand, those mood fluctuates all the time. It's a love-hate relationship. Don't leave me, get away from me, why are you leaving me? And also, these attachments, they have a problem with the feelings of real or imagined abandonment, neglect, rejection. On the other hand, with narcissistic personality disorder, some of the features are, this grandiose way of thinking, a lack of empathy, an inability to bond to people. And I'm just giving kind of a general overview without going distinctively into the different symptoms. But, they have this perceived, the grandiosity, this perceived feeling of, being better than the average person. They're more educated, even though they don't have proof of it. They have problems with relationships and connecting with people. Now, according to studies, and if you're into the mental health, it also lets you know that the average, most people have narcissistic traits, which is not pathological, meaning that doesn't mean that you have NPD. And so most people have narcissistic traits. And if you look at the teenagers, developing children, in their developmental stages, it's pretty common, that most teenagers are self-absorbed, all about themselves, into their looks, all these selfies, competitive, she's cute, him cute, competitive jocks, all of a sudden, mom, you're so old, oh, dad, oh my gosh, you're embarrassing me. So they go through this developmental, but it's not pathological. It seems like it's pathological because you want to knock them out. But, this is normally a pretty normal developmental phase. Now, do know that the dysfunction in the personality begins young. And for some people, also those people that have had traumatic brain injuries will change personalities because, will change their personality, or something traumatic has happened. In most people, their personality, you see a child, you begin to, the baby is born, you begin to see their little bubbly personality and what kind of personality they have. We usually say, oh, she's a diva, or, oh my gosh, she's such a bubbly, happy little baby. Something happens and all of a sudden their whole personality changes. You don't recognize these people anymore. You don't recognize these children. Something has happened where they shut off all emotions. And normally when a child, normally we don't catch it as parents because we don't want to believe that something is wrong with our children. But a lot of times there have been red flags as the child is developing, that's beyond the normal developmental, that little narcissistic phase that they go through. And what you'll notice is they find some kind of pleasure out of seeing you tormented or seeing you in pain, or their siblings, or, they go to school and they become problematic, because what becomes pathological is that it affects them and their daily functioning, and it affects the people around them. They have problems connecting to people. Everything is really superficial. It's like you're teaching them how to bond, or you're teaching them about empathy and feelings, but you notice that they'll agree with you, or they'll figure out a way to manipulate you, get you what you want, but they go right back into the same pattern. And so as this develops, this dysfunctional character flaw, as it develops through time, by the time they're 18, 19 years old, as adults, that's usually the time that that diagnosis comes into play. But there have been red flags that you didn't catch, or you noticed, but you didn't. As a parent, we wish the best for our children. We can't believe that something could possibly be wrong. And so by the time they become adults, that personality is ingrained in that person. So if you have a person that's pretty self-sufficient, very confident, or a person that's kind of bubbly and always joking, that personality has kind of set in. But when you're dealing with a dysfunctional personality disorder, like narcissism, usually by the time they're 18, 19, it is totally ingrained and engrafted in them. It becomes a permanent personality trait, which is hard to treat, number one, because most of them won't stay in treatment, and number two, because of the fact that they have to be able to look within to change themselves. They have to be able to look at themselves to be able to change themselves. And so clinically, there is no cure for it. I don't care what anybody says, unless they show studies and people that literally were diagnosed with it. There is no cure for narcissistic personality disorder. And so with this personality disorder, you have to understand, too, that narcissism is like on a scale. It's just like autism is on the scale. Narcissism is on the scale, too, from the lower functioning to the higher functioning. So this is where you hear the terms, the low grade, mid grade, and the high functioning, or what you've heard, circulate, the greater narcissist, but the higher functioning narcissist. The lower functioning are usually where you find the overt narcissists. Overt narcissists are usually the ones that are very obvious in their behavior. You could pick it out. You could pick out all the traits in that individual. They have problems with relationships. They have problems with holding jobs. They have serious problems with authority. They don't like to be told what to do. They can't look at themselves. These are the ones that catch a case. These are the ones that the police are called and they're arrested. These are the ones that don't have a problem killing you. They don't have a problem. They humiliate you in public. They're very overt, very obvious in their behavior, very violent in their behavior. And so as they begin to, because they like the feeling of power that they get with scaring people, with using fear, with using power and control, it is domestic violence. It is domestic violence. It's just domestic violence that is perpetrated by an individual that probably has narcissistic personality disorder. And so as you go up the scale, when you get into the mid-range, they're kind of becoming accustomed to the power and control that they have. And they see people, all narcissists see people as a means of fueling their ego, to making them feel good. They don't have the ability to self-regulate like we do. When you're feeling bad about yourself, encourage yourself, say some affirmations, whatever your belief system is, say affirmations to make yourself feel better. They don't have the capacity to do that. So they depend on other people. And not all the time do they look for people that are weak. What they do is they look for people that are strong, that are powerful. And even if you look at yourself like, well, I don't have any money, I don't have any fame, I don't have an education, what would they want from me? There's something about you that is strong to them. They like that strength, something that they see, and it's really a compliment to you, but it's horrific for the fact that you attracted a narcissist. But They see some strength in you, and they see something that they want from you. All they're takers. They're not givers. The only reason why they would give, meaning that they will love bomb and they will give, is when they're trying to pull you into that circle. So they give you compliments. They make you feel good about yourself. But that exhausts a lot of energy out of them because they're pulling on you to get you under control. So there's something about you that they want, whether it's your beauty, whether it's your personality, whether it's your money, whether it's your job, whether it's your recognition. There's something about you. And what they do is they don't form regular relationships. And so as you're building rapport with the average person, it's really it's an interrogation. They're trying to find the holes and the gaps. And a lot of times we have a problem with talking too much when we're hurt. And so when you talk too much, you begin to draw a picture for them so they can figure out what role to play in your life. And so as you're telling them all your hurts and pain and things that you have been through, they begin to mirror you. They mirror how you talk. They mirror what you do. They mirror what your vocabulary looks like, what your body language is. And you really begin to look at your own self. Now, usually when they present themselves to you, they present themselves to you from the good qualities of the last supply that they were with. And so how they present themselves is that old supply, or the supply that they're connected with, and they present themselves to you like that. But they usually monitor you. They usually watch you because they're careful, and there's a possibility you could cause a narcissistic injury because there's some people that just don't play. They don't have time for the games. They're not interested, and so they know that sometimes they know not to bite off. Sometimes they don't pursue everybody. Some of them are bold enough to do it and end up getting injured, but some of them don't pursue everybody. But they watch you, they mimic you, they monitor you. And then what ends up happening is you think that you met your soulmate. And so, wow, this person and I have so much in common. In actuality, no, you don't. They're mirroring you. And so you're looking at your own self and you like what you see. You like the good qualities of yourself. And so some of you that have a very low self-esteem, that don't like yourself, there's nothing good you can find in yourself. Well, when a narcissist started mirroring you and showing yourself, you like some things about yourself. And so you got to be careful what you say because you really begin to like a lot of things about yourself. Now, remember, the first person that they presented to you was the old supply. And so for you to hate the old supply, and of course, they're going to use smear campaign. For you to hate the old supply, there's no reason why you hate the old supply because they presented the old supply to you. So you really started liking the old supply. So the old supply may have been all right. Now, I'm not saying all of them okay because some of them fight right along with the narcissist and just make your life miserable, and so you're like, you are so ignorant, I don't want your man. I don't want your woman. Go ahead on and be happy in your narcissistic world. But, the narcissists don't have the capability of bonding with people. There's always an ulterior motive of why they're pursuing people, and it's for the purpose of supply. There's something you have that they want. And what they do is they try to find those little gaps, those holes in your heart, the pain, and then they try to fill in those gaps to grab a hold of you. Their whole thing is love bombing and trauma bombing you to them. They 1 minute they love you and idolize you, and the next minute they drop you, make you feel like nobody. And so you are so concerned with what have I done that you tend to turn a blind eye to what they are doing. You miss the game. You miss what they're doing. And so the mid-grade narcissist normally is more comfortable in playing the game. They're starting to get a hang of this game and how, they control people. They start getting into this is easy. I know how to manipulate. I've had them say, I've had one say, it's too easy to win a woman's trust. All I got to do is let her know how pretty she is. All I got to do is give her some compliments, and make her feel good about herself. But you see how they think? And some of them, not some of them, they usually lie. They live in a unrealistic world. And so the higher they go up the scale, a lot of them begin to understand who they are. Now, whether they know that they're a narcissist or not, most of them do not. And some of them that get higher, and they have mastered this art of manipulation and doing what they do to people and children. Some of them have been diagnosed, so they embrace the diagnosis. They understand exactly who they are, and they take that and it's almost like they highlight it to make it seem like it's something wonderful and something beautiful. I know who I am, so let me teach you about me, and let me, because they are so self-absorbed. They don't care about anybody but themselves. They're self-absorbed. They're all about themselves, and the way you feel is like, but I've seen good in her. I've seen good in him. Yeah, momentarily they're going to show show you what they want because there's something that they want. They need some fuel for you so that you can stroke their ego, and then they just drop you. Some of them ghost you, some of them, discard you, but how dare you discard me? And so a lot of them, they can't handle the rejection. And usually they have other sources of supply around in the event that you catch on to what they are. Do always know that they're always smearing your name. Now, some of them are more private, where they don't want anybody to know, like the cerebral narcissists are more of the thinkers, the more intellectual ones, the ones that really, really think. But every single one of those narcissists are very intentional in what they do. And cerebral narcissists are thinkers. They always think ahead of you. They play this game of chess with everybody that they meet, and they always overthink and outthink, or think that they're outthinking, the possible prey or the victim that they have. And so they're thinkers. They're constantly thinking. They're thinking, and they have mastered the manipulation to a point where they know how you think. They know how you react, because many people do not respond. They react. So they know the reaction of people. They lack empathy, and the type of empathy that they lack is the emotional empathy, being able to feel the pain what other people feel, feeling bad for someone, having that empathy to know, hey, I just lost my mother. All they know is, oh, I can stick my foot in there and I can pull you because I can say the right things at that time. So they have the cognitive empathy. They don't have the emotional empathy. They understand how emotions work because they've done it for so long. Is there a word or a term that they use? No, they just know. We're giving it a term. They just know it's working. Now, we come up with the term and identified what they're doing, but they have not identified. There's no term that they use. They just know it works for them. And so what they know is that I know how to manipulate emotions. I know how to step in and be that person you want me to be at that time to cause you to draw to me, to focus on me. They prefer to be worship. When I say worship, they want to be your everything. They want to be the person you depend on. That's why they isolate you many times. They get you away from people that can provide you with information and is like that reality point where people are like, do you understand what they're doing? They get you away from those people that will have influence on breaking that. Is almost like that trance that they put you in. And so you have those, the covert ones, those are thinkers. The somatic narcissists are narcissists that are very, very concerned at how people see them, what they look like, this grandiosity. I'm so rich. I'm so beautiful. I stay in the gym. I got to make sure my body looks good. Many sexual conquest, and I look good because I have all these men or all these women in my life, and look at me, and everybody wants me, and she wants me, and he wants me, and they want me, and everybody wants me, and it's all about how they look and how they appear. They spend money, they spend all this money on their appearance, on the cars, on the clothes that they wear, on the image that they the image that they show the world. The image that they portray to the world is very important. So they spend much money, but what people don't know is that these are the ones that are hidden in plain sight. Many of them are covert, meaning that they're undercover. These are people that are just mesmerized by their beauty, by their gift giving, by how generous they are. They're such a kind individual, and every time I'm around, it's just a pleasure, and I laugh, and I'm happy, and my emotions are high because that's a narcissist. They're able to, they focus on your emotions. They focus on your senses. And so most people don't realize that they're dealing with a narcissist, but that narcissist is all about themselves and that fuel that they're getting as you're praising them and making them feel good about themselves. This is usually the somatic. Now, can a somatic switch back and forth to cerebral? Yes, they can. Sometimes you may have a cerebral and something in life has happened where they actually switch over to a somatic, or something has happened in a somatic's life where they switch over and become cerebral, or some of them, go back and forth depending on what they need to use at the time. A lot of them, they're just dirty. They're liars. Majority of all of them are liars, and especially the covert, because at home, the families are going through pure hell. They don't see marriages as marriages like you and I would see marriages as for those of you that believe in monogamous relationships, monogamous relationship growing together, but they look at it as a status quo and a permanent source of supply that I lock you in so you won't go anywhere because you're loyal to me, but I'm not loyal to you. And so I'll do whatever I have to do or say to make you stay loyal. That's why you have a lot of those religious narcissists, whether they're pastors or deacons or Buddhists or whatever, that will use religion against you because that may be your, that's something valuable in your life. So they'll use what is valuable in your life to hold you where you are, while they are totally hypocritical of everything, everything that they do is hypocritical of what they're telling you to do. What's good for the goose is not good for the gander. They don't do what they preach. When I say preach, they don't do what they tell you to do. So, they are the type that, you do what I say, but I'm not going to do what I say. You just do what I say, not what I do, and a lot of times I used to find that in the military too. Do what I say, not what I do. And then they have the horrible reputation and they're hypocrites. And so these are the ones. When you're dealing with the narcissist, when they have children, the children become an extension of themselves. A young child, loves their parents, and they give them all the attention. They love their mommies and daddies, and they're all over them. But eventually, as a child begins to grow up, they become more independent. They don't need you as much. And so for a narcissist, either one, that's where you get the scapegoat, you get the golden child, you get the lost child. But the golden child seems to be the favorite child to that narcissist. It's not that they're the favorite child, it's the most compliant child. It's the one that would do anything to satisfy that narcissist. These are the ones that have the most problem in being autonomous or growing up and being independent, because their whole life is surrounded by this narcissist living vicariously through that golden child, and that golden child making that narcissist look good. And so they have loyalties. These are the ones that as they get older, the parent lives in the home and controls the home. And they have a lot of marital problems. They have a lot of relationship problems because that narcissist has total control over that golden child. And the only way the golden child knows how to appease that narcissist is to do whatever they say. They're not independent in themselves. So it may look like that's the favorite child, but that favorite child makes that narcissist look good. Then you have that scapegoat where, that scapegoat is the one that points out the pink elephant in the room. It's going to tell, these are the ones that are always the problem child. These are the problem child because of the fact that they display the symptom of what's going on in the home. They don't have a problem telling what's going on. So the narcissist reverses and makes that child look like the problematic kid. That this is the problematic kid. This is the one that always has trouble. But this is the one that's going to tell it like it is. This is the one that's going to point it out. This is the one that doesn't mind getting beat up, but I'm going to tell it like it is, and I'm going to tell exactly what you. So they become the problematic child. That's a part of the smear campaign. So everybody looks at this kid as like, you the worst one in the family. You're the one that had the most problems. No, that was the one that was going to tell the truth. The lost child is the one that just wants to be hidden. I don't want to be seen. I don't want no trouble. They're the ones that at least provide the most fuel for that narcissist. I'm going to hide. They know something is wrong. They know something is wrong, but they try to stay away. And each one of them have problems in their relationship. But the narcissist will see, as long as that child is making them look good, whether it's a mother who was beautiful at one time and now the daughter is beautiful, looks just like the mother. So the mother lives vicariously through her and makes her do everything that she didn't get an opportunity to do, or a father that's into sports that, find out that the child is good at sports. So they live and they push that child hard to they say things like, you have to be perfect. And you continue to be perfect because your name is such, your last name is so-and-so, and this is what, because they're living vicariously, this is an extension of themselves. They see themselves in this kid. This child is their property. And then you have those that are also pedophiles. Those that look at the child as an extension of themselves. So to have sex with their own child is not because you're my property. And so if I need sexual gratification, I should be able to come to you because you are supposed to satisfy all my needs. Mentally, emotionally, they parentify them. And so they don't have a problem with having sexual intercourse with their own children because that's a part of it. I'm going to teach you how to be a man. I'm going to teach you how to be a woman. That's male and females alike. And that's why be very careful to the single parents. You just don't jump in a relationship. It's a package deal. And you have to protect your children because some of these narcissists are actually pedophiles, and they will stalk you and they will stalk your children. There's something that they want, and they will groom your kids. And I'm gonna still do a video on that, how they groom your children. They're watching you and you're gullible and you have these open wounds, but you leave your children out there, become a prey, and then they groom these kids. They sexually groom these kids and actually molest these children. And so some of these kids grow up with secrets and they're afraid of the narcissist and they won't say anything. They won't say anything because they're afraid whatever happened, or I'm going to take my love away from you. I'm going to stop talking. And these kids are addicted to that parent, just like you were addicted to that, the partner, or the husband or the wife. And so that is just a small recap of a lot of things that we have talked about. Remember, you still have the flying monkeys. You have those people that are fight for that narcissist because that is a good person. That is a person, I can't believe, because they've already smeared your name. They've already talked to people. And even in a marriage, that's crazy. Even in a marriage, they're already talking behind your back to other people. There is no loyalty there whatsoever. So they're telling other people about you and the negative things about you. And because they're setting it up just in case you decide to tell and they know what they're doing. Don't think that they don't know what they're doing. They know exactly what they're doing when they're abusing and molesting their children. Not all of them do, but molesting their children. And so one thing that they'll do is if they fear that that child may tell, even in adulthood, if they fear that that secret may come out and that adult child may tell what they've done, they'll do whatever they can to reconnect with them and love bomb them to get their loyalty back, whether it's paying them money, buying stuff for them, paying some bills. They'll do whatever they can do to keep the child quiet, keep the adult child quiet. But they're going to smear your name. So by the time you tell your story or you tell people you're the crazy one, you're the one with the problem, but they set it up where everybody always assumes that you are the crazy one. And in actuality, you're the one. It's like you're the scapegoat. You're the one that's going to tell the truth. So by the time they discard you, now, number one, they'll discard you or you discard them. But either way it goes, they look at you as property. You're mine forever. Forever, you are mine. So if I ever want to come back, you should always be available to me. And when that doesn't happen, when that doesn't happen, they pick the things that is most valuable to you, whether it's your children, your reputation, your job, your finances, the home that you live in. They'll do whatever they can to torment you and antagonize you and make you look bad. And a lot of you come out of these situations with post-traumatic stress or complex post-traumatic stress. Children have been defiled. Children either grow up narcissistic or they grow up with other mental health issues. Physically, you are physically being torn down. Your body is not what it used to be anymore. You're aging. You look like the crypt keeper, but once you get away from the narcissist, you begin to look healthy again. And so this is all a part of this horrible cycle of being abused and being in a relationship with a person that has narcissistic personality disorder. And so my greatest advice to you is, number one, get as many resources as you possibly can. A lot of you are giving people advice, just get up and go. It's not that easy because they have caused you to be addicted to them. The oxytocin in their brain is broken. The oxytocin to connect with people, to bond with people, there's something wrong with this. There's defective. For you, the oxytocin and the chemicals and the serotonin, all those hormones and chemicals in your body had, just like with chemical addictions, substance abuse, you are addicted to a person that has caused you to go up and down in your emotions. Your whole body is now dependent on that individual and making you feel good. You have been addicted to a person. And so to break that addiction is just like breaking a drug addiction. It takes time to break the addiction. That's why I encourage you guys to get counseling. Even if it's through, a lot of times you may not find anybody in your area, but if you go to betterhelp.com/Dr. Carmen, you're going to get a 10% discount. It's a nominal fee, a low fee. And you can get counseling in the privacy of your home, your office, and they do online counseling. And you can ask them about what their knowledge is on narcissist abuse. I've heard a lot of good reviews about, right now I'm not taking clients through BetterHelp, but you can use my, it's a sponsored link, and you can use my discounted rate. If you're having financial difficulties, they have grants available to you. They will work with you to make sure you get counseling. Those of you that are wanting to leave and have children, those of you who have children, in each state, there are laws that protect the parents from you just kidnapping the kids, because they can get you for kidnapping. You get connected to like domestic violence shelters or domestic violence programs, called the National Domestic Violence Hotline, the YWCA. They do have assistance in getting you out of a domestic violence situation, putting in no contact orders and protecting you and the children, even with visitations, helping you with a divorce, helping you to relocate. Some people have to relocate and change their whole identity because the narcissist that is after them, is pursuing them, is literally crazy. They don't mind killing you and the kids. If I can't have you, nobody can, and so a lot of people live in this fear that this individual will find me, and will kill me and my children. And so you got to be careful. You have to make sure you plan the escape. You don't just jump up and go, because they can use that against you. And a lot of them like to use abusive litigation, where they try to take you through court, accuse you of all, just excessive stuff. I need to know the money. I need to know their mental health. I need to know this. What they're doing is running up your money so that you can't defend yourself in court. And a lot of states do have a handbook for the judges, especially dealing with domestic violence cases, where they can step in, like here in Washington, the abusive litigation. When you bring that to their attention, judges will make sure that they step in to stop this abusive litigation, because they will continue to abuse you even in the courtroom. And in the courtroom, it's easy to make you look crazy. All this, you're just asking for child support, and all of a sudden, you need a mental health assessment. All I said, I needed child support for support. But to them, it's not support for the child, it's taking something from them. And then you get away, and then you're living life, and you're paying your bills, and you're looking healthy. How dare you? I got to find a way to antagonize you and hurt you. So they'll use your children to hurt you. And so they'll punish you by punishing your kids, or they'll punish you by hurting the children or trying to take the kids from you. Anything that is valuable to you, they will use that to hurt you. And this is the mind of a person that has narcissistic personality disorder. So hopefully this is kind of a recap of many videos. For those of you that are coming on for the first time, go check out the other videos. Hopefully this has helped some. I just wanted to do a recap just to see what you have learned and some of the things that you have learned in my teaching. It's not good to teach something and you're not sure if people are learning. And I know a lot of you are, because you've let me know. And thank you so much for all the comments. Thank you so much for all the support. I hope that you are learning something. I hope that a lot of you are becoming free in your mind, in your body, in your health. Don't jump right back into a relationship right away until you address you. Sometimes you the one that needs help the most, in order to get free from toxicity, and so that you don't draw these people back into your life, and especially for your children. And so if you have not already, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. This is Dr. Carmen Bryant, Overcoming Narcissist Abuse. I do have 2 Facebook pages. One is my professional one, which is Psychological Health Consultants and Services. The other one is Overcoming Narcissist Abuse, which is my book. Now, I did let you guys know that a lot of times I do different types of speaking engagements. Sometimes I do speaking engagements like dealing with the YWCA, or in general, when I talk, just like here on YouTube, I talk about narcissist abuse for both males and females. And I keep it more experiential and layman terms when it comes to the clinical aspects of narcissism. But also, many of you guys do know that I am a minister, so sometimes the platforms in which I speak on are ministerial platforms, which was this past weekend for the Mending Souls Conference. It was a platform that was directed at women, and it was biblical, platform, as ministering platform. And so I was able to speak in reference to narcissist abuse, but from a religious or from a biblical perspective. And I was speaking to women at this conference. And so I did post a video on overcoming narcissist abuse. Usually I don't post those type of videos on my professional site, but I did post that on overcoming narcissist abuse. But what I found out was is that some of you couldn't see the video because the video was recorded on my personal Facebook page, and my personal Facebook page is private. And so to post that video over on the Overcoming Narcissist Abuse, a lot of you couldn't see it because it was a private video. So what I had to do, some of the young millennials had to teach me. I kind of recorded it on my phone and then posted it back on Overcoming Narcissist Abuse, where you guys could see the video. And so you're welcome to go see, how I speak on different platforms. And especially I was talking to the women at that time. So no offense, men, I just happened to be talking to the women at the time, and I was ministering. So if you guys want to, if you're interested, you are welcome to go over to that and see that platform in which I was speaking. And so also do know that my mentor, Apostle Helen Sadler, also has a YouTube channel. It is Helen Sadler, Destiny Helper. Now, she provides you with information on the YouTube channel that is based in biblical and spiritual perspective, with the respect that everyone does not have the same belief system, but she brings it to you as the presiding prelate, as a senior pastor, and she provides you with information concerning these individuals and the abuse. And she brings it to you from a biblical perspective. So those of you that don't believe, there's no problem. You don't have to believe in God, but just listen to her and take the principles out of what you're learning. I also have a book which is Unmasking the Illusion of Perfection. You can order it on Amazon or Barnes & Noble. It's a very low fee. I sold out a book, so I got to order some more. Some of you guys want me to, sell it to you so I can sign the book for you, and I'll be more than happy to. I just have to order some more, okay? And when I do, I'll let you guys know. But please order the book, share the video, share the book. Buy it, donate it to people at the shelters, at the women's shelters. Those of you that can afford it, buy some of those books, because the book they are real people who have experienced domestic violence and discovered that from the time that they were young, dealing with their grandparents, dealing with their mothers, how they were manipulated, how they were groomed really to be in the hands of a narcissist. Some of them were powerful people in powerful positions. Their children were being abused and groomed. How did they escape? What were the thoughts on their mind? How did this happen? What was I looking for? That's the questions that they were answering in here. What was I looking for? How shameful was this? When I was discarded and it was thrown in my face, I was hungry, and all these stories are in there, the homicidal and the suicidal thoughts that they were going, the hatred that they had in their heart. And so a lot of you that are not Christians actually read the book and said, you found yourself in there and you got the principles of what I was saying. And so please take the opportunity if you can. Some people that are in domestic violence shelters have no money. They're starting all over again, and they assume that the world thinks that they're crazy. If you can, order some books and donate it to them so they can read it, so they'll know that they're not crazy, and they get some type of strength, some type of hope that they can make it through. Share the videos. You are welcome to share the videos. Please do share the videos. Thank you so much for supporting me. Please look on the link below. Those of you that have asked, you can donate through Cash App and PayPal. Those of you that are still interested in coaching, I do have, most people, they're coming in, they're doing, a consultation. It's been a beautiful consultation. You guys are very powerful people. They come back from time to time to check in. That is awesome. And so I kind of left it at the discount. So email me at drcarmenbryant@outlook.com, DrCarmen Bryant@outlook.com. I had to think about it. And email me. Let me know if you're interested. I give you my discounted rates to let you guys know. No, I cannot do counseling across Washington state lines. In order to do counseling, you have to come into my office and then let me know what insurance plan you have to make sure that I am in network with your insurance plan or cash, when you come in here. And so thank you once again. As always, you guys go and be great.